You're going to what?
Oh, I just hit record. Okay. So,
Okay.
welcome back again, everyone. So, Adeline and Isla and Elliot's mum, Miss Megan, she's going to, I think, show us her garden and talk a little bit about gardening in general. So, a big welcome round of applause.
Thank you. I have some assistants this morning. This is Elliot, if you guys don't know Elliot. And this is baby Audrey and Isla and Owen.
Excellent.
We have a lot of kids in our family, but we have even more plants. People think we're a little bit crazy. So I wanted to talk to you guys about why we need plants. Does anybody have any ideas why we might need plants?
We need a lot of fruit and veggies.
We need a lot of fruit and veggies, okay.
And it helps us breathe.
Plants do help us breathe, yeah. So plants absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen, and we need oxygen to breathe. So plants are super, super important. Do you guys have any plants?
I have a tomato.
I have plants.
I have watermelon.
You do?
And beans.
We planted
You have beans?
so much plants.
I have
don't even know how many I have.
succulents.
We have papaya too.
Really? Do you have watermelon in the ground already?
Nope.
No, not yet.
We just
So
started 2 days ago.
Oh, did you start it inside or outside?
Outside.
Ah. So in North Carolina, the weather gets really warm really early, which is nice. We used to live in Massachusetts, and in Massachusetts, you can't plant anything until Memorial Day, basically, which is in May. But in North Carolina, this is a really good time to start planting. So that is awesome. So you guys said we need plants to breathe. Owen mentioned we need plants to eat, which is true. And plants help clean the water too, which is really cool. There's a lot of great things that we need plants for.
I
Go
heard
ahead.
a replay.
And Megan, we see this with our fish tank at YSA, right?
Yeah, do you guys have plants in your fish tank that clean the water?
We do, yes.
Very cool. So the whole earth depends on plants. And I heard a child this week in my family say, plants are dumb. And I quickly corrected them, and we talked about why plants are really, really important. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but a lot of medicines come from plants. Did you guys know that?
What type of medicines?
So one really important medicine that comes from plants is called aspirin. Have you ever had a headache?
200 times.
Sorry, I'm having trouble seeing you guys. It's so bright outside. So if you've ever had a headache, or your parents have had a headache, I guess kids don't often take aspirin, but if your parents have had a headache and they've said, oh, I need to go take something for that, chances are they might have taken aspirin. People with heart problems also take aspirin very often, and aspirin comes from a willow tree, from the bark of a willow tree. So that's super duper important. And there's lots of other medications like that that come from plants. So if we didn't have plants, we wouldn't have medications, and then we wouldn't be able to help our bodies heal. So plants are super, super important. The other thing that plants are really important for is building. Can you think of anything that you would build from plants?
Cheese.
Yes. So what do you build with trees?
Wood, paper.
Yep. That is super cool. Sorry, I'm trying to get my meeting to work a little bit better. There we go. Okay. So we this year have decided that it's really important for our family to help the pollinators. So we have started some plants for pollinators. Do you guys know what pollinators are?
Nope, no idea.
The insects that take up pollen.
They're what?
The insects that take up pollen.
Yeah, so the cool thing about pollinators is that Without pollinators, many plants would not survive. Some examples of pollinators are what?
Pollinator gardens.
Well, the pollinator
Bees.
garden is for
Oh, bees.
for bees, for butterflies, and I learned a really cool fact this morning that bats are actually pollinators. Did you guys know that? I did not.
Yeah. You know,
I guess that.
I would
Go ahead.
love to have a beehive at YSA. Yes.
So sadly,
No, we are
we
not
just
getting a
lost
beehive.
Oh no, that's okay. And
Wasps, hornets, and bumblebees.
Yeah, those are great examples of pollinators. So we had some beehives at our house. We were hosting for a beekeeper. Sure, Adeline would like to tell you.
So we had bees, and then there was wasps. They came also. So like we had 2 beehives, and then we planted a pollinator garden, and then wasps came and they invaded our nest. So then we have a wasp trap over there. I can maybe show you, but that traps wasps, but they still were invaded by wasps, and they stole the honey. So also the guy moved back, so we had to get rid of the bees. But can I show you the wasp nest or trap?
Sure. We'll just go over there. So that little green thing in the woods is a wasp trap. So we were trying to keep wasps away from our bees, because when wasps come close to a beehive, they rob the hive of the honey, because wasps also really like honey. So our bees were dead, which was sad. But we planted a pollinator garden anyway, which you can see here. And the pollinator garden isn't really things that we'll eat or anything. It's just for the bees and for the butterflies and any other things. Yeah, maybe bats that it might attract to our garden. And you might say, why would you do that? Don't you want that garden space? And we do. Oh, look, there's bee. Actually, it's a wasp. But we do want the garden space, but we really want pollinators because we really care about the environment. And also about our other plants. And if we give up one of our garden beds to pollinators, we hope that that will bring them to our garden, more bees and more different things that will help the environment and help our other gardens. So some plants require pollinators. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so what pollinator plants have you got there in the garden?
You know what? I was trying to find the seed packet. I know that there's cilantro, there's dill, there's borage, there is thyme, there's some milkweed in there. Milkweed is really beneficial to monarch butterflies. So there's that in there. I think there's zinnias. You know what? I think I might have thrown the...
But zinnias.
This is our composter.
Yeah.
Yep. This is our composter, and I think I put in here. All right. So our Save the Bees packet has coriander, which is cilantro, sunflowers, dill, basil, cosmos, purple prairie clover, lemon mint, catnip, and black-eyed Susans. So anyway, so that is our pollinator garden. There are some plants that pollinate themselves, but there are some plants that have to rely on bees and other pollinators. There are also some plants that you can pollinate by hand. Last year, because we didn't have enough bees in our garden, we hand pollinated some things with a Q-tip, which was just crazy, according to my husband.
That's
to the
cool.
degree that we love our plants.
So
Go ahead.
How do you hand
sorry,
pollinate
Layla, go ahead
things?
with your question.
How do you hand pollinate things?
So you find the male flowers. We actually looked it up on YouTube to learn how to do it. We do a lot of things from YouTube in our family. We looked it up, and you take a Q-tip and you get the pollen from a male flower, and you pollinate the female flowers and you can tell the difference because I think it was it cucumbers that we did it with? Yeah. Hand pollinated, yeah. So the female ones have fruit on them. They have little tiny cucumbers on them, and the male flowers do not. So you take the pollen from the ones that don't have any fruit with a Q-tip, and you kind of wipe it in the female ones. And because of that, we got lots of cucumbers, which was awesome. Why don't you tell them what else we're growing, Adeline?
Mint and cilantro. Owen loves to eat the cilantro and the mint, but so we don't have mint anymore. I think we have cilantro still. We just got new flowers. We just went to the herb farm and we got hot peppers, flowers, bug bite plants, and I don't know.
Yeah, so we have tomatoes. It's right around the right time to put tomatoes in the garden. If you guys have any or you want to plant some, you can plant the seeds right in the garden. For that, you want to plant tomatoes a couple of feet apart like we did here. The ones in the back are 3 tomato plants, and then these ones are peppers.
I used to have tomatoes, and I ate all the tomatoes out of them, and they couldn't grow anymore.
That's what happens at our house. Owen eats all of the tomatoes every time they turn even a little bit red, which is really funny. So we have to have him slow down.
I once tried to eat a green one until my mom told me to wash it and put it on the window for it can turn red.
That's what my grandma's dog does. He'll like go outside and like eat the tomatoes before they're even ready to be like eaten. And he'll just eat them right off the bush too.
So the good thing about tomatoes, I know some people, some older ladies that are really, really expert gardeners, and they say that tomatoes are better ripened in the house. So if you pick a green tomato, you can put it in your house and let it ripen inside the house, and that will keep it from like bugs and birds and stuff, because when tomatoes turn red, they're really attractive to especially birds. So often birds will peck at them before they ever get a chance to fully ripen. So you can pick your tomatoes and ripen them inside if you like.
Have you seen those little red bugs that they be so near to your tomatoes? Do you ever seen those
little
bugs?
I'm not sure. Are they mites?
What?
Are they mites? I don't know if I've had red ones. We had
like they have like a little face, 2 points, a face, 3 legs, and they have a red back.
That's really cool.
Yeah, Sammy, my wife knows this bug. It destroys the plants. I'm going to go and find out for you.
Okay.
Is it a potato bug? I know those eat a lot of things, and they're kind of like that.
I'm going to find out for you, Sammy. I'll try. I'll put the answer in the chat, okay?
Okay.
Cool. The other thing that we're growing that's a really good time of year to grow right now is these peas. Do you guys see these peas?
Yeah, I'm doing peas too.
What you are? Peas are one of our favorite things because you can just go out and eat them as soon as they're ready, and the kids snack on them all spring long. We got our plants in the ground, our pea plants in the ground a little bit late this year, so they're not as big as they normally would be, but we have snow peas over here, and those are really good in like stir fry and like Asian food. And then we have snap peas, which you can just snack on right off.
And still,
Owen here really likes herbs. He likes to just eat all of the herbs. So sometimes we have trouble growing them. Cilantro, yes, that's an herb.
Cilantro is your favorite?
Is that your favorite, Owen?
Well, not really my favorite. Like tomatoes are my favorite.
Gotcha.
Mint is my favorite.
Mint's a good one. At the moment, I've got asparagus growing.
Good.
Oh, we've never done asparagus. We should. Tell us about that.
So you have to let it sort of be, it builds up over a couple of years. So the first couple of years, you're not going to get much in terms of growth. But then this year they've gone haywire, and they just grow as stalks. Yeah. It's pretty
That's
wild.
really cool. I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah. I'll take a picture of it later, and I'll put it on the website for everyone.
Oh, we would love that. The other thing Owen was talking about is mint. And the thing about mint, I made a little bit of an amateur mistake, and I planted mint in my garden. And you can see
Uh-oh.
over here that we actually have mint growing in our grass because of that. So when we mow our lawn, it's very minty, which is kind of nice and kind of a little bit crazy.
Very good.
The kids eat it every day. Sometimes we make tea with it, or
Very good. More mint over here.
but we keep pulling up the mint and it keeps coming back. So we may never be rid of spearmint, but thankfully it's something that smells delicious. Does anybody have any questions about plants?
So, what type of soil are you using?
So we got a container mix a few years ago from Seaside Mulch that has some compost and things mixed in. I think it's like peat, compost, topsoil, and maybe something else. But then we recently went to Shelton Herb Farm. Have you ever been there, Dr. Rob?
No, I have not. No.
Well, this is a great thing to do during this quarantine time. We went to Shelton Herb Farm a few times, and it's totally outdoors. You guys will love it. And they have lots of plants for just $1, which is really cool. And the lady that runs it.
How often does
Go ahead.
Hang on.
How
So,
often
Sammy, just hang on a tick. If everyone would, for the time being, because I know you've got lots of questions, and I know Cynthia has a question here as well. What we could do is if we mute our microphones, and then we can put the questions in the chat, or you could raise your hand, like with the raise the hand button, and then I can call on you, so that we don't have people talking over each other. Okay, sound good? All right, so I'm going to let Cynthia ask her question first, and then it'll be Sammy after that. Are you there, Cynthia? No? Okay. If Cynthia, if you want to write your question in the chat, I can ask it for you. And then in the meantime, Sammy, go ahead and ask your question.
how often do bugs eat the plants?
Very often, especially in North Carolina. So we plant early in North Carolina because by July, pretty much all of our plants are dead. Especially tomatoes and stuff, they're really sensitive to heat. So once it gets really hot in North Carolina, we sort of take a break in our family from planting from maybe like mid-July to August, and then we plant a whole new set of things. Sometimes we plant new tomato plants just to see what happens, but usually in North Carolina by July, hold on a minute. Usually in North Carolina by July, the bugs are so bad that the garden doesn't do as well. Sorry, we got a lot of kids here. Owen, please don't pick that. Owen wants to show you guys his cilantro.
I would like to show you some dill.
That's dill. Those are both great pollinator plants, the dill and the cilantro, if they survive the kids.
Do you have any rosemary?
We do. We have rosemary over here. So we do some herbs in pots. Can you see those? That's not a cactus, that's an aloe plant. So we do a lot of herbs in pots by our back door so that we can cook with them. So when we're cooking and we're making our dinner, we often open the back door and just grab some fresh herbs. We have been thinking about making an herb focaccia bread probably tonight. So when we do that, we make the dough and then we'll come outside and grab some herbs for that bread. We also have aloe over here, right there, which Owen said it's a cactus. It kind of looks like a cactus, but aloe is really good for different types of natural medicine and for sunburns. So if you get a sunburn and you break off one of these aloe leaves right here, you can rub that right on your skin. Or if you burn yourself while you're cooking, it's super, super helpful and it helps your skin to heal. You can eat the dill. Sure, that's it.
That's a good tip. That's a very good tip.
Thanks, Bear.
Yes. Cynthia
Cool.
was saying that mint is an invasive species. That's why it's growing in your grass.
Exactly. And
Does-
some people
does
don't
everyone
mind.
know
We
what an
sort of don't
invasive-
mind.
I'm sorry?
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, does everyone know what an invasive species is?
No.
You know what?
I do. I think it's like a species that just keeps growing and growing, like sort of like invading the rest of the space or plants.
That's right. And we just heard from Dr. Burge, right? And he was talking about lionfish and how they're invading the coast of the United States. So that's another example of an invasive species.
You guys have bathed.
Cool. The other thing that I wanted to tell you guys was about worm casting compost. Does anybody use worm castings or composting worms in their garden at home?
Yeah.
So we have a compost bin, and like we have like so many worms, like we're willing to like sell some, probably.
That's so cool. So what do you do with the castings from your worms?
I know we do compost.
Do you have Yeah? Do you guys add worms to your composter at YSA?
Actually,
just-
we have in the past, but we probably, when we get back into action again, we should probably redo that, right? Yes.
Cool. I was able to pick up this bag. My worms, we used to compost worms, but our worms have died. Unfortunately, over winter, it's hard to keep them alive. You have to bring them in your garage, and I guess I didn't care about them that much. So they froze, unfortunately, but we went to Shelton Herb Farm, and we found this worm castings bag. So a little bit more expensive than doing it yourself, but we mix this, it's basically worm poop, and you can get it by the bag, and you mix like a handful into every wheelbarrow full of soil, and it helps to feed your plants. And some gardening experts, like the lady at the Shelton Herb Farm, says that, you know, it's really better than any other type of compost and that it works really, really well. So we're experimenting with that this year as well. If you guys can get over to the herb farm, you should definitely check it out.
Awesome. Does anyone have any other questions? I'm just going through the chat here.
Dr. We're gonna show you guys how to plant a pot too, because we are gonna plant our new plants, and we're gonna show you.
Okay, it's on your computer. Sorry, we have multiple devices going. So yeah, the girls will pot some flowers that they got, some edible flowers that they wanted to pot for you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, we'd love to see that. Yeah.
All right, so do you want to put some of the worm castings in there?
Sure.
In the dirt? Okay, so we'll open this up.
Can everyone see the pot? Everyone sees the pot? Yep, I got it.
All right, put a little sprinkle. You can put your hand in there. Put a little sprinkle of that in the soil. Awesome. So we have some regular potting mix. Adeline, it's about half regular potting mix, and then we're going to open up this one. We just got this. This is called Daddy Pete's Sea and Farm, and that is potting soil that has all sorts of good ocean compost in it, and worm castings, and all sorts of other things that the nursery told us that would be beneficial to our potted herbs and vegetables. So go ahead and open that up, Adeline. Just a small hole so we don't spill it everywhere. All right, yeah, sure. Now pour it in.
How much do you want?
Maybe almost to the top, but allow a little bit of space. So we don't want it to fill it all the way to the top, because then if it rains, the pot will fill up and then it will all wash away and overflow. Yeah.
That good?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Great.
So if you're gonna, they have these little edible flowers. I'm forgetting what they're called, but Adeline got some. Yeah, you can like put them on salads and stuff, which we thought would be fun. And then
You eat the flowers on salad,
you can eat the flowers on the salad. Yes, isn't that cool?
or can I eat them on?
That's
I
very
do
cool. If you're indoors and you don't have a pot, do you have any recommendations for like growing seedlings?
In the past, we've used paper cups or plastic cups. We didn't have a ton of luck with that because I think we had a drainage issue. But I have heard of people doing that for sure. You can use plastic cups and then like poke a bunch of holes in the bottom and put it on a tray of some kind, or like holes in the sides.
Like onion grass.
Oh, you have onion grass? Okay, so dig a little hole in there and plant your stuff. Oh, and then Isla, you want to tell them about your mosquito allergy?
I get, every time mosquitoes come, I get like at least 20 mosquito bites.
Isla gets really bad mosquito bites. So anytime there's mosquitoes out, they just love her. We think maybe it's her blood type, but they get really, really huge, like sometimes the size of golf balls. So she found a plant at the herb farm that they say repels mosquitoes. So she got that because she thought that that might help on our back patio. And it's
Is
a
it like a
petunia.
citronella type thing?
It's petunia. They're flowers, and I guess they're mosquito repellent, according to the herb lady. So we figured we'd try it. We've also tried citronella on our back porch and a couple of other things, but it seems like mosquitoes are kind of just a thing in North Carolina. That I heard someone say that they're the North Carolina state bird.
I was about to say that.
So I think maybe Isla's just gonna have to outgrow her allergy, but the poor thing, she gets them pretty bad.
Can I put mine in?
All right, Isla, now make a little space and put yours in.
I don't know how to.
If you gently squeeze the sides of the pot like this, and then you want to lift out.
Cynthia's asked the question here, do you make egg carton gardens?
What was the question?
Do you make egg carton gardens?
I've never done that, but that's an awesome idea.
Cynthia, have you done that before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what has worked for you?
I put the soil in each. And put the seedlings inside.
Yeah. What seeds do you typically grow with the egg cartons?
What kind of ones are that? Tomato or normally grow all the time.
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear.
Oh no, we were just watching you actually, I think.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was trying to hear. Yeah, that's about all we have for today, I think. But we hope you enjoyed the tour of our garden.
That's excellent. This is great. Does anyone have any other questions before we wrap it up? Yeah, Cynthia has a question.
Go ahead.
Let me unmute you there.
I don't have a question.
Oh, I thought you put your clap hand up. Does anyone else have a question? Well, this has been great, and I think Layla has a few words to say.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you guys. We appreciate it. I was really glad to talk to you guys today.
Yeah, it was really great.
You say thank you?
And what we can do here is we can get regular updates from the garden, right? We're calling
Yeah,
this,
we would love.
this is called the Backyardigans. So Friday
We love
can
that.
be like a Backyardigans, and we can maybe next time we can get an update and we can go to someone else's backyard and see what's there. This is great. This is
That's
a
great.
suggestion from Layla. Yes,
That was
very
the
good.
suggestion? Awesome. I also wanted to say that we have a bunch of extra seeds for herbs like basil and cilantro and things. So if there's some way to get them to the students so they could start their own gardens, we would love to share. I would be willing to drop them off or something like that if that is an option for anybody.
Awesome. You know, what we could do is I'll put the feelers out and see who would like some seeds to try. But I think, who would like to try that? Yes? Yeah, that'd be great. If you want to, I'll send you my address, and then if you want to drop them off in the mailbox or whatever, and then I'll make sure that everyone gets that. Yes.
Okay, yeah, we would love to, and I can do some like cups of potting soil or something like that too,
Great.
so everybody has a chance to participate.
This is great. Yeah,
All right.
excellent.
Sounds
Well,
good.
again, thank
Thanks,
you so much.
guys.
This has been awesome. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.